Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is Jonas Reporters for the 16th, and despite all the protestations of the market over this, over that, every time we've come to ABM support levels here, we've moved back up. And again, as I've said, the pivot has been the ABM yellow, simply because we've been in a weak period here, and we didn't get solid dip of the orange until just the other day. We came below it. It's hard to see it. I don't know if I can make that large enough to be able to get to the visual where it comes here. It was because we had a much higher level of the red BOC, and it just indicated that we've been in a constant progression of money flows in. We just had a couple of overbought situations, and it just kind of filled back in and moved back up. The fact that the steel has been in a reset mode is always a key telltale, because it lets you know there's plenty of funds available. Also, we're not overbought in this current situation, so you can see where we were before in the exact same spot. Overbought, not overbought anymore. And that's a big difference to be able to see that when you have this kind of a consolidation, because it just lets you know that there's plenty of room. Now, the NASDAQ looks much weaker, but it was a disproportional move. And so we really have a balance back in the general markets relative to each other, which is important, because whenever there's a disparity, you usually get an arbitrage trade up against one or another, and that sometimes creates erratic volatility, which isn't always as nice as consistent. And the euro finding support right down here, and shakeout still positive. So despite the fact that it's been in a little bit of a weak mode, it ended up with a nice little dip down cross of the red right there, which is giving it a little bit of strength going forward, and it's completely reset. So supposedly euro Greece deal, there's always supposeds, but that kind of talk is just going to keep them euro stronger. So that's where they're at with that. And craziness with the bonds. Despite the weakness, the Fed continues to raise rates. It seemingly arbitrarily, as though they're intending to really force a recession of some kind, but seems a bit odd at this point. I mean, I know people are saying it's record lows, but it's like you really probably should wait until after you see movement in the right direction before you do it, but they think they know best. They've obviously managed to create the worst crisis since the Depression, but never mind. Anyway, we go to USO oil, and again, and this is just really the troubling spot, because while you see some bright spots in the economy of things starting to pick up, it's not universal. And whether some of this can be attributed to more efficiencies to some degree, but it's just the unlimited ability of U.S. technology to overcome and increase supply in a dramatic way. And so, no, we haven't reached an equilibrium yet. And gold continuing to fade below the bottom side of those. It was still in the weakness. In fact, now we're just getting a move below the red. The question would be, though, whether we've had too much of short-term buyers just holding price where it's at, and will it be enough to convince some of the broader players to push forward. We've retraced the low from the dip below the red line, so that's not an issue. So I think these ABM values definitely come into play as far as strength, but it's a little more precarious at this particular spot. Is where I would add my fib lines to it and be able to trade off of the various levels just to make it easier. And the 5K, let's shrink it just a little bit, show the action from the day. It was just straight down pre-market. We retested all the way down at the bottoms here, and then we based, and we ended up with resets of the ABM, very clean. And then we had rising red DOC with that one, and did 3 times. So it was what you call a triple bottom. And then boom, started to climb right from there. And once it got above the ABM yellow there, it's just been continued all the way through, and even in pre-market. And we had a pretty good series of time where the cyan was under red, which makes it a little bit easier. I wouldn't call it a dramatic move. It was just filling back in the pre-market dip. Scares out the stops, and then they accumulate and drive it forward. So this is a clear indication that bought up everything that was available all at the same level, and that's good to see, to know that you've got plenty of buyers there that are willing to soak up supply. So there you have the long and the short of it. I wasn't around much of yesterday simply because I had a surprise visit, and that was interesting. Some friends I haven't seen in many years, just popping into Florence, and this Sunday we head towards Los Angeles. Well, we go to Rome first, so I'll see if I can do a quick spot in between there, but probably Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be transitioning to America, so you may not get a report from me on then. I'll try and post if I can, just depending on where we're at that particular point. But as always, trade well. We'll talk again later.